our society, it is the cause, solution, and blame for so much of the people's ailments. We can't do this because of society, or society teaches our children fear and blame and segregation, or society defines and limits us. And while I may definitively agree with some of these, I have recently come into the other part of the perspective. Why these exist in certain parts of one's life and should exist for certain reasoning. Let me explain. For the longest time I was told, through both words as well as actions, don't fall in love with your friends, don't be gay, or sexually attracted to anyone of the same sex, restrain your desires, your emotions, be monogamous, settle down, relax, loosen up, no fighting, make love not war, etc., etc. Many idioms and words of advice that teach us how to fit in with our society. And then there was one younger male that I met who did a great many things that he wasn't supposed to, and taught me that the most important lesson was not to get caught. Brackets. The more pertinent translation was that to be caught meant to be judged, and judgment would almost always be rendered by those who did not share your perspective or understanding, whether inferior, superior, equivocal, or from a vastly different system of understanding. End bracket. I respected him for that lesson and learned from him. I also fell in love with him. The miniature rule breaker who stole my heart. And I don't mean fell in love like, oh, he's so cute, look at him go. I fell hard like, dude, be my boyfriend. I was told this was wrong, but I didn't understand how my love and desire born of admiration and the ease of our connection, the powerful bond that we almost instantly developed and wanted to take further could be wrong. It felt so right, so perfect, and so it occurred to me that it wasn't wrong. Society was. Bracket. Or, rather, the black and white perceptions on masculinity perpetuated by the common mind, although that perspective may slowly be shifting for the post-millennial generation. End bracket. Prior to this, I was always a free spirit, always a moral and honest person. I did my best to be a wise and pensive optimist on the straight and narrow. And suddenly this kid comes along and shows me a whole different world. He showed me what extroversion gets you. Friends. He showed me what lying gets you. Your way. He showed me what acting on your desires gets you. Results. He showed me what loving someone too young in a society that represses it gets you. Strife, pain, concealed feelings, resentment, torture and agony, but above or perhaps under it all, it gets you love. And all these things, all of these, were things that society did not show me. Perhaps I should have checked my sources, quote unquote. On some level, perhaps he corrupted me, but I prefer to think of it as him freeing me. My mind's eyes were open, and I saw the world in a way I hadn't seen it. The reason for society's lies and the truth behind them. The truth hidden behind them. But not 100%. There were still things I didn't know, bracket, didn't understand, end bracket. It occurred to me that if breaking a few rules felt this good, and revealed such truths, then perhaps if I broke a few more I would encounter other eye-openers. I cannot say whether I did or not, but that is not the point. My mind, has always been in a constant state of questioning the nature of things, the reason for things, the reactions to things, and as such I've developed a semi-comprehensive knowledge on a variety of subjects as well as a powerful sense of foresight. My main area of focus is human interaction, although the way the human mind works was my main interest scholastically. After loving, and eventually having my heart semi-broken by this kid, that I fell deeply in love with, and realizing that, as things stood, he would never be monogamous with me, another dude, I drifted away, distant and despairing. I thought monogamy couldn't be the answer. I had been monogamous with a female before, and the most I got out of that was guilt and pain over not satisfying her clingy emotional needs. And when I wanted to be monogamous with the male love of my young life, I got disappointment and heartache. that just hurt even more. Bracket, an equivocal and almost ironic riposte. End bracket. In addition, I noted that for most people who dated, they eventually and inevitably broke up, without fail. I can count the number of people in my peer group on one hand who have dated someone from their youth and are still together today. 1, 2, 3, none. Granted, I'm sure it's possible to remain together indefinitely after quote-unquote getting it right the first time, but I, and many of my peers, have yet to quote-unquote get it right the first time. Although that, too, is beyond the scope of my rant. Monogamy had brought me, and most if not all of my peers, nothing but emotional heartache in the end, and yes, I suppose I am quantifying relationships by the end result, though I've always believed that both the journey and the end were of equal importance. With regard to everything else, so why I didn't make that connection sooner is beyond me. I figured I'd choose more carefully the next time around. I wouldn't be so hasty in committing to someone who would just be miserable or make me miserable. I understand that quote-unquote love is sacrifice, but people are happier when they don't have to make huge sacrifices to be with another person. Compromise is needed, but sacrifice? Well, I've made sacrifices and look where it's gotten me, a fucking silent martyr. And I also understand that I've made it a part of my life mission to make people happier and better developed people. So for me, it seemed to make more sense that if I was happier, then I could help more people more effectively than if I was unhappy. And so, having the freedom, which makes me happiest, to do so seems to be the most important thing. The more I learn, the more knowledge I have to help people with, and monogamy, after learning about the monster, quote unquote, it truly was, seemed to just inhibit that mission. My astrology readings also seemed to support this, quote unquote, born to transcend the ego breaker. Someone whose purpose it was to transcend and surpass limits and expectations, to make the impossible seem possible, and thus inspire others to reach for their dreams and achieve them. But when reading the tarot, it also cautioned me to take care of myself first, and I thought that by remaining free and unattached, that I was.